and challenging curriculum, including music and the arts. Superintendent Cindy Martin.
I think you just did the introduction.
Thank you.
LCAP Goal 2. Thank you. We're going to continue our workshop. We've covered this morning already Goal 1, closing the achievement gap with high expectations for all. The first part of A squared, which was academics. Then we did Goal 4, positive school environment, climate, and culture. That's where we spoke about agency. The second part of A squared. And now we're moving into Goal 2, access to broad and challenging curriculum, which of course is not only related to academics and our strong academic approach, but Goal 2 is really important to round the breadth with which we give our students access and experiences across all of our school campuses. So we'll start like we did with the other two goals this morning. We have a CUSIN Award winner school. Oh, there you are. I was looking across here. We have Amy Griffiths, the principal from Field Elementary, that will talk to us about how Field is an example of how they provide access to a broad and challenging curriculum. So it's nice to have a principal here bringing light to what this actually looks like in action. Thank you for being here.
There we go. Thank you. Thank you very much. Good afternoon. My name is Amy Griffiths, and I am the principal of Field Elementary School in Area 4. Today, I'd like to share with you some of the ways in which Field Elementary supports access to a broad and challenging curriculum for our students. Field's two-way 90-10 dual immersion Spanish-English program is one of the ways in which we support a broad and challenging curriculum. Field Elementary School began its dual immersion program 5 years ago, and it has grown into 8 dual immersion classes in that short time. The 90-10 model means that our students in this program are receiving instruction in TK, and first grade for 90% of their instructional day in Spanish and 10% in English. Each year, the amount of time allocated shifts so that by 4th grade, all students in this program are receiving 50% of their instruction in both Spanish and English. This allocation plan ensures that native English speakers build a solid foundation in their target language of Spanish, while supporting native Spanish speakers to transfer their academic skills successfully to English at a strategic and incremental rate. While students receive direct reading instruction only in Spanish for the first 3 years, their reading progress is monitored in both English and Spanish. As a variety of rigid research studies demonstrate and predict, students progress with their reading skills in English prior to even receiving direct reading instruction from their teacher, primarily due to the transference of skills that they learn explicitly from their teacher in Spanish. What this means is that students are reaching grade level standards of proficiency and literacy in 2 languages through immersion. Field supports students in combination classes also in several different ways. As a small school, we have some combination classes. We place students strategically in the combination classes based on a variety of factors that include social skills, meaning their ability to be learning leaders amongst their peers, as well as their academic skill sets. All students receive grade level appropriate curriculum, including math and science, and we're able to successfully achieve this in combination classes through deploying students to our site-provided bilingual resource teacher, who supports both programs, our dual immersion program and our English-only program. For example, in the 1st and 2nd grade combination dual immersion class, our 10 second graders deploy to Ms. Zavala's class for their math instruction in Spanish, while the remaining 14 first graders stay in their class to receive math and Spanish from their teacher, Ms. Flores. This ensures that every child receives their appropriate grade level Common Core standards and in the target language according to the program that they are in, and oftentimes in smaller group sizes as I just described. Also, teachers work together in professional learning communities 1/2 day every month to pace out and plan curriculum and to determine and evaluate assessments for each academic subject. Our site funds enable our resource teacher, Ms. Zavala, to be a part of these important collaborations according to the grade levels that she supports through deployment. Ms. Zavala also supports the students that she teaches by teaming with their classroom teacher during conference time to help parents to understand the progress their children are making towards grade level standards. In other words, even though she's a 0.5 resource teacher, she just doesn't give the scores and the reports to the teacher to convey to the parents. She sits alongside the teacher to do a team conference with the teacher. Also, Field ensures that students will continue to excel even after they've achieved grade level proficiency. At Field, we do not utilize deployment only for the purpose of teaching grade level appropriate standards. Teachers also collaborate and coordinate upward deployment to their classes from grade levels below so as to continue to foster advancement with students' progress after they've met grade level proficiency. For example, if a first grader is reading at a DRA level of 24, they're reading above grade level. This doesn't mean that our work stops with this child because they've reached their academic goal for reading for the year. They may be an outlier in the class, as there might only be 1 or 2 other students reading close to this level. Therefore, to support these students to continue to excel in their reading skills well into the next grade level, the teacher will plan and coordinate with the next grade level above, the next teacher grade level above, so that the students can push up into her guided reading groups in the 2nd grade class. Therefore, there's just not a ceiling. We don't stop the learning for these students. They continue to excel. Field also engages parents to understand the broad and challenging curriculum, and we empower them to support the learning at home with their child. Field holds a monthly parent meeting during the school day, which serves as a parent connection to the curriculum. What this means is, during the meeting, parents meet with myself, the principal, in the auditorium to learn about current and successful instructional strategies that we use to teach children in 2 languages. An example is the Lucy Calkins writing program curriculum that is used to teach not how to write, but how to be writers in any language. Parents would learn from me about the structure of, let's say, a writer's workshop, and hear about the purpose and the goal of a mini lesson, among many other things pertinent to learning for our students. Following their talk with me, parents would then leave the auditorium to join their child to see the learning in action, sit alongside their child and receive a lesson, perhaps. They may see a mini lesson and engage in gathering of seed ideas with their child. Whatever the teacher plans, the parents will leave with a solid understanding of the learning that their child engages in every day and ways in which they can work with their child to support this learning at home. Field supports GATE and GATE cluster students to continue to excel within a multi-grade level model. Next year, Field will begin our project-based learning initiatives to supplement the GATE learning opportunities for our students, that our students already have. Our project resource teacher, Ms. Zavala, will pull our GATE-identified students for a determined amount of time in a 6-week cycle to engage in project-based learning. Our students will lead this learning in the respect that they will determine what community or global challenge that they would like to address. Together in groups, in this format, they'll develop an outline for their project, as well as a rubric for proficiency and a final presentation, which could be in the form of a PowerPoint presentation, a panel discussion, a dramatic play for the class. Whatever they feel will help to teach others about a challenge that they were impassioned to address and to find a viable solution to. The groups that work together on these initiatives will be multi-grade level groups, learning in either Spanish or English, guided by common interest in challenges that they want to solve. We believe that by fostering opportunities like these, we're helping to empower learners and develop leaders that will help to change the face of tomorrow for our community. I hope with just these few examples here I've been able to share with you today, I have conveyed the powerful learning that is happening at Field Elementary School and how our students are accessing and achieving success in more than one language with a broad and challenging curriculum. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Amy, for presenting it very succinctly, what this looks like in action at your school. We appreciate your presentation.
Hello.
Michael Goodbody is going to be presenting, and I know Cheryl Hiblin is here with laryngitis. So Michael's a voice of the comprehensive work that I know is always done collaboratively, so it's nice to see your team be able to present when you can't, Cheryl.
Yeah, I got the call at 6:15 or so this morning. Good afternoon, President Beiser, Vice President Whitehurst Payne, Board Trustees, and Superintendent Martin. My name is Michael Goodbody, and I'm a resource teacher in the Office of Secondary Schools. To begin this presentation, I'm going to channel my Anil Hiblin and read her opening remarks, as laryngitis has made this impossible today. Let me begin by sharing that we're absolutely thrilled to have the opportunity to speak to you about our systemic STEM efforts, especially since most of the strategies we will highlight today have been in partnership with many San Diego businesses, nonprofits, and higher education partners, many of whom are in the room today. The information in this presentation will be co-presented with these partners and include a description of what we've done thus far and what we will do together in 1819. The strategies that we plan to lift include, but are not limited to, San Diego Jobs Data Alignment, Pathway Alignment to Jobs Data, Pathway Makerspace Movement, TK through 12, Business Industry Partnerships, Partnership Labs, Partnership Work-Based Learning Experiences, the STEAM Leadership Series, Summer STEAM Opportunities, Computer Science Integration, TK through 12 STEAM Efforts with a Blue Tech theme. Our first speaker is the President and CEO of the Workforce Partnership, Peter Kallstrom, who will share a little bit about the jobs report that started it all and the current and future work we have planned for STEAM.
All right, great to be here. Thank you for the introduction. But first of all, as a parent of a 4th grader and an 8th grader, I just have to say that teachers and principals and superintendents, all of the work that you do. You are my heroes because you have the hardest job, the most important job, I think, in our community. And my daughters are thriving. They're not in San Diego Unified. We're up a little bit north in Del Mar, but just thank you for all that you do every single day to raise our kids and get them on the right way. So thank you very much for that. So I want to touch on three quick things. The priority sectors that Michael shared, we did in collaboration with the Community College District a few years ago, identifying those career pathways that are most in demand, have the brightest future, and is really where our region is going. We do a lot of research around where the jobs are ongoing. All of that information is on our site and free. It's workforce.org, so please check it out. In addition to these sector reports, we've done the Blue Economy Report, which you'll see, and so many more. So there's a lot of wonderful careers out there, and as we feel it's our job in order to understand where the jobs are so that we can share that with educators and the business community so that we can help align where young adults go as they pursue their careers and find their place in the world. So secondly, we have been working very closely with San Diego Unified in recent years. And I want to back up a little bit. We've come so far thanks to the leadership of Superintendent Martin and the team, because just a few years ago, we literally had no relationship with Unified. We were busy doing our work in the workforce space, which is all-consuming, but thanks to their openness and energy and willingness, we've expanded tremendously. So we took these priority sector reports, which are nice, slick reports, but how many kids are going to download these reports and read them and study them and figure it out? So we came up with this simple idea in partnership with Qualcomm and our Think of It lab friends, and came up with those priority sector boards that you may have seen. And we have small versions back here, but we came up with these boards a few years ago, and it took off like wildfire. And we now have over 5,000 of these boards around the county in front of young adults every single day, so that it's an eye-opener as to where these careers are. So simple ideas like that can really take off like wildfire. It doesn't have to all be high-tech. It can be low-tech. A poster board can also open up many doors. So secondly, we're very concerned in our work and in partnership with San Diego Unified around this category of young adults we term opportunity youth or disconnected youth. And we've done a lot of work now in the last couple of years to identify how many there are, where they are, and what interventions need to happen so that we can get them back on track. So as you may know, opportunity youth, 16 to 24-year-olds, not working, not in school. There's 41,000 kids in our region who fit that category. Imagine Petco Park filled with young adults. That's how many who are in that very tenuous gap of life and needing new direction. So we put on 2 years ago our first summit called Flip the Script, and our second summit just this past April in partnership with Unified, and brought together 800 people around the region to address this issue, to develop working groups. We have an Opportunity Youth Council and so many other activities so that we can really get ahead of it. We have to bring that number down dramatically, and we can only do it in partnership with San Diego Unified and our whole community. So more to come on that, because we have to really drive that number down. And one other last thing that we've been doing, we started a program 5 years ago called Connect to Careers, and we did that with just some real minimal funding through the San Diego City Council at the time to relaunch a youth employment program, because as you may know, back in the day, the federal government did subsidized employment for young adults, and then that ended cold turkey in 2012 when the Recovery Act dollars ended. And so every region was left to their own devices to come up with a program. So we started in 2013, and we had about 500 applicants, and we were able to get a couple hundred jobs for kids. Fast forward 5 years later, we've had 10,000 applicants, and we were able to secure 2,100 jobs last year. Our plan this year is 3,000 jobs,
Wow.
but we have a long way to go. That's great progress, but we've got to get 5, 10, 20,000 jobs for young adults. So we believe passionately and know that once you can get your foot in the door and learn through the experience of work at the right time of life, you can find your way. And so much more to come. Again, big thanks to San Diego Unified, Superintendent Martin, the board. We would not be where we are if it wasn't for your partnership and leadership. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. It's also important to note that for the next school year, 2018-19, we're working with the San Diego Chamber of Commerce and the Workforce Partnership to bring STEAM career exploration events to local middle school students and parents. We've already begun planning for next year with our first school being Bell Middle School. The result of working with Workforce Partnership on the jobs report was the alignment of our CCTE pathways in high school and middle school to the high-skill, high-wage industries in San Diego. You have a copy of these pathway maps in the folder we provided you. As we look towards 1819 and beyond, our goal is to continue this alignment in elementary schools through a systemic TK through 12 STEAM pathway, which we will highlight later in this presentation. Next year, you should be able to hold an elementary map in your hands to illustrate this accomplishment. The next strategy we'll highlight is our makerspace movement. That all began with the team from Qualcomm, and it's my pleasure to introduce Susie Armstrong, Qualcomm Senior VP of Government Affairs, Gloria Benuelos, Think a Bit Lab Manager, and Vanessa Myers.
Thank you, Michael. My name is Susie Armstrong. I'm actually an SVP of Engineering,
I'm so
not
sorry.
Education.
So sorry.
Gloria and my colleague Vanessa in the back here, they are real educators, and the program could not go forward without them. I'm in charge of a number of our STEM and STEAM programs, and one thing I wanted to say, it's an honor to be invited here to speak to the board. San Diego Unified was really, along with Peter and a variety of other people in this room, were really people who were instrumental in what I call birthing the whole Think a Bit Lab program. After San Diego Unified started bringing their kids to our lab at our headquarters in San Diego, we decided to, based on the demand and based on some ideas, here we decided to open we call it a pilot lab, in your facilities, working with you. And so we opened with your folks at Lewis Middle School, and Michael had a lot to do with this as well. He's been here for the long run. In the last 3 years, over 1,200 students have actually participated in that program at Lewis Middle School. And it's 6th, 7th, and 8th grade students. The program has expanded, the lab and the program has expanded into a variety of different usages. And in particular, two of your science teachers are developing 4 semester-long rotations of engineering curriculum based in that lab and working with some of those initial activities that we developed together. The labs are also used for, and this is music to our ears as well, not only for school day activities, but for after-school activities, open houses, and a variety of other things like back-to-school nights. Next academic year, what we hope to focus on with Michael and Lewis is providing teacher training in what we call the world of work, the Qualcomm world of work. One thing that we feel is really important in the Qualcomm Think a Bit Lab program is it's done in the context of, it's STEM and STEAM, but it's done in the context of careers. And it gives it, and kids as young as, 4th grade, really understand it if you present careers in the right way. And that was a lot of our linkage to, the workforce partnerships and some of my colleagues here in this room. So we're pretty excited about the opportunity to work with Lewis Middle School on the world of work. I just also wanted to share some statistics. In our one-day program, which is taught at the Think a Bit Lab at our headquarters, over the last 3 years, a quarter of the participants who visited the lab were from San Diego Unified School District. And I think it may have started when Ed Hidalgo he tells this story about taking Cindy in his Prius over to the Think a Bit Lab. And so that's been really critical because it's, again, we are technology people, we are not necessarily educators. And so by bringing your kids in and bringing your teachers in and bringing your principals in, we get the kind of feedback that helps us grow our program and informs the program, so we actually can make it even more impactful. 35 of the San Diego Unified School District schools participated, and that is about 40% of the total eligible San Diego School District schools. Total students served in the last 4 years of the 3,700 students, are over 3,700 students, and these are the students that participated in the one-day program. Now, many of you have likely already heard, due to a variety of reasons, we are going to focus more on our sites, our 25 sites around the nation and potentially around the world, including San Diego Unified, and we are closing the physical lab at Qualcomm. And while it's very sad, you know, whenever I got blue, I would go over to the Think About lab with all the colors and the kids, and well, it's a kind of a sad moment. I think what this is going to do is going to free us up to, instead of operating the one-day program, which in some ways is much more appropriately operated in schools and in libraries and in universities with the real educators right there, we are going to focus on working with those sites to expand the content of the program and the teacher training in the program. And so we've also been scheming with Michael, and we'd like to say going forward, we're planning to do a pilot of the Think a Bit Lab one-day experience at the Kearney School, the Kearney High School, in their E2E space with teacher training and teacher resources. And what I think is really unique about this, this new program is the high school teachers are going to teach the program to middle school kids. Almost, to me, it's like, I term it a recruiting exercise into high school. And out of that, they will develop a module with support from the Kearney teachers and some of the engineers that participate in the Think a Bit Lab and the outreach that we have at Qualcomm. So I just want to say, again, thank you to San Diego Unified. Without you folks, we would not have a program, and I think your input has affected not only Qualcomm tremendously, but you know, those 25 university and library and school sites all over the nation. You know, there's a variety of them here. There's some and there's a variety out in the Washington, D.C. area. And we hope there will be many, many more. So thank you again.
Thank you, Susie. So Qualcomm inspired us and challenged us to rethink learning environments and how we help students discover and explore their strengths, interests, and values. We set out to develop middle school spaces where students could tap into their creativity and turn thoughts into reality. Genius Labs were built to provide the tools and conditions to do just that. We built Genius Labs at Challenger, Correa, Dana, De Portola, Knox, Marston, Pacific Beach, Stanley, and soon Montgomery, Taft, Roosevelt, Bethune, and Millennial Tech. Next year, we will take what we've learned and apply it in 5 clusters as we launch elementary STEAM. We envision a day when every elementary classroom has been converted into a tinker space. Next year, you can expect to see transitional kinder and kinder students working together to develop solutions to issues impacting our community. Now we're going to transition to the partnership work that has grown over the past 4 years. One of the things we've learned early on with Qualcomm is that this work is contagious and brings out the best in our community. Here are the businesses that we've been working with, and you can see that in 1819, the momentum continues to grow as more and more companies will be joining us as partners in education. Next, we'll move on to our off-site partnership lab experiences. We believe that it is important to expose students to a wide variety of career fields before they reach high school. I would like to introduce from SeaWorld, Director of Education and Conservation, Laura Slanik, a group of engineers from Raytheon, Wendy Martinez, Marie Eng, Carlos Gayton, George Potosme, Linda Anthony, and Assistant Education Director, Wayne Nizzolo from the USS Midway.
Thank you. Turn the microphone on. We all know what a tough crowd middle schoolers can be, but get them to SeaWorld, give them their hands in the water, and eyes under a microscope, or calculating how much a sea lion should eat, and you have their attention. SeaWorld has been operating the Ocean Link Lab since 2016, and the program really immerses the students into a world of science many of them have never seen before. We have a classroom, but most of our time is spent out in the park visiting learning stations and observing real, live zoological professionals in action. No 2 labs are ever the same, and there's never a dull moment. SeaWorld's rescue program is the central focus, and students explore the impacts humans have on animals and ocean health. Plus, we have a career exploration segment that is really eye-opening to students who have no idea about all the different jobs we have at SeaWorld or the various STEAM disciplines. Since inception, we have been able to host over 1,800 students through the Ocean Link Lab. SeaWorld's Ocean Link Lab can be salty and smelly and wet, but the students have a terrific time. A memorable time where they have fun and are inspired and learn that the actions that they take can have a positive impact on our planet. We're very proud of our program and honored to be partnered with the San Diego Unified School District. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Wendy Martinez. I am an electrical engineer at Raytheon, and I am a product of the San Diego Unified School District. So I know firsthand as a professional the importance it is to inspire and work with our community to make sure we continue to grow our future. So what our program is, we have a 5-hour robotics program that we host once a month. We are in a 2-year program. The morning consists of actually talking to kids about engineering, what it takes to become an engineer. They actually take a test to see what kind of engineer they are. And then our whole afternoon, they spend a time programming robots that are meant to be, to represent Navy and doing humanitarian missions. What makes our program very unique is that it's hosted by a group of engineering volunteers. So one thing that we do is that we all give our little story, and our engineers are actually here today as well. George, Marie, Linda are our software engineers, and also Carlos is one of our systems engineers. So firsthand, we tell them how important it is to become an engineer and why we need them to continue this. So the way we actually started from Qualcomm, think of it, and it was when we heard that they were turning away kids, we said, how can we help? So we do give our volunteer time, and it is something that we feel very passionate about, and we have personally get rewarded by seeing kids get excited about engineering and know what they can do. So to date, we've had about 600 students, and tomorrow we have our next robotics program on board the USS Midway, and then we also host it in our classrooms back in Raytheon.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Wayne. I'm with the Midway. And again, thanks to our board for allowing us to be here. And Wendy's right, like tomorrow, a group of students from San Diego Unified is coming to the Midway, and we're just the host while these wonderful engineers come in and do all the work, and we love to watch the job that they do. And that's just one of the byproducts of the great relationship that Michael has worked on developing with all the business partners that are at the table today. You probably already know a little bit about the Midway. We've been offering science, math, and social studies programs to all the school districts in San Diego since we opened in 2004. But thanks to continued support by our sponsors and something like 1.4 million visitors a year, we're able to provide these programs at a really low cost to visiting students, and in fact have scholarships for a lot that visit. Last year, in just our classroom settings, we've seen more than 25,000 students come in for hands-on classroom activities, which we think is great, and we want to continue to do that. One of our goals is to be a community resource. So we're continuing to look for ways to collaborate with the community partners, and we were excited by the possibility of working with San Diego Unified in partnership to create a STEAM program on board the Midway. So the creation and development of our shipboard engineering program was really a collaboration between our museum instructors and basically champions from the school system in San Diego Unified. And you got to imagine it, Michael brought to us middle school teachers from Lewis and where else?
Pershing,
Montgomery. And Montgomery, right? So these teachers came to us, and you could tell from day one, they spent hours on the Midway learning the lingo, learning about the ship, learning how to move students along the passageway, talking to our people with the Navy experience, and they came up with an amazing program for the students to do. So much so that the teachers actually have our education uniforms that they wear on the days that they visit. The shipboard engineering program encourages students to develop team building skills, to work cooperatively, to analyze and propose how to solve problems. This is all good stuff. To step outside their normal environment and be put in sometimes challenging situations, and engage with their classroom and classmates in reflection. I don't know if you can see it exactly here, but as you're looking up there, there's the pictures of all the different teams. Ours is on the top right-hand side. What you're seeing there is a group of, a whole team of female students in middle school who have put on vests, put on work gloves, put on safety glasses, put on hard hats, and they've been brought into a passageway that's 4 feet by 4 feet. And they're learning how to compensate for unequal forces on a bulkhead by creating K-beams using the same type of wooden platform that the sailors would use on board. The only thing we didn't do was flood the room to make it more challenging. So this is the kind of environment that's been created with this partnership. And we had our pilot at the end of last year. We did a few of those. We ran the program successfully all of this year. And correct me if I'm wrong, Michael, but we're bumping up to 1,000 middle schoolers that have visited the Midway in just this program. He sent me the email 2 days ago, and we've already have 31 dates on schedule for next year. So we're proud to work with San Diego Unified. Thank you guys for letting us be part of this community.
Thank you. So at the sake of keeping us on schedule, I just ask you all if we can quickly go through these next pieces, but still capture the essence of everything.
You have 2 minutes each.
So moving on to high school work-based learning experiences, I want to introduce Director of Programs and Marketing for Launch Bio, Becky Beatty, and BioLab San Diego Site Director, Abigail Flores in the back.
Thank you.
I'm so sorry. And we're also joined by Vanessa Light, Corporate Citizenship and STEAM Education from Illumina. Just got that out of the way.
Thank you. And thank you to the board for having us here today. As Michael said, my name is Becky Beatty. I'm the Director of Programs for Launch Bio. Launch Bio is a newly formed nonprofit within the last year to support early stage life science entrepreneurs. And we're the nonprofit partner of BioLabs. My colleague Abigail, who's in the audience, is the operating manager of BioLabs in San Diego, where scientist entrepreneurs start and grow their companies. So we also wanted to focus on exposing students to this world of scientist entrepreneurialism. And we just started our programming in September, and right away I met with Michael and said, how can we do this? So quick, we put together a program and launched the pilot in the fall. And essentially 144 high school students from Claremont High were invited to come in and experience what it's like to be an entrepreneur. And so we presented them with a real life problem, which was hepatitis A. They were able to tour a real life lab, play a game that led them to start thinking about ways to combat this problem. And then we showed them how to pitch an idea to investors or their parents. I was trying to tell them this is a skill. Pitching an idea is a real life skill. So they had an hour to put together a company idea, and then we called all of our friends and executives in the industry, such as Novartis, Tech Coast Angels, Illumina, Millipore, UCSD, Objective Capital, heavy hitters, to come in and be our mock investors. So then the students had 2 minutes to pitch their ideas 3 times, and we rotated in a Shark Tank-like environment. And they were graded on a rubric, which we were very kind but honest with them. And at the end, we took the executives and did a then and now panel to discuss what made you become interested in science and how did you get to where you are now. So we thought it went very well. Michael and I patted ourselves on the back, and then we surveyed our participants, and we're very pleased when 92% said that they did in fact enjoy the program. 80% or more agreed or strongly agreed that this experience supported their development in interpersonal communication, public speaking, problem solving, teamwork, and 92% thought that other students would benefit from it. And in their words, they said it was intriguing, fascinating, valuable, exceptional, eye-opening, and my favorite was dope. So we thought to ourselves, wow, this is intriguing, fascinating, amazing, eye-opening, and really dope. Let's go for funding and see if we can expand this program. So we applied for a community development block grant, which is a federal grant, as you know, that's administered through the city. And we're pleased to say that we were awarded that grant, and we'll be hosting over the next school year 10 more biomedical career workshops for San Diego High School, Kearney, Hoover, Claremont, and Crawford. And I should say that one of the primary objectives of the Community Block Grant is to expand economic opportunities for LMI residents or students within the Promise Zone. So our promise is to hit 51% or more with the programs that we're offering. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Vanessa Light, and I am on the corporate citizenship team at Illumina. I focus on our STEM education programs. Illumina is a biotechnology company. It's the company off the 805, is what a lot of people call us. But the mission of Illumina is to unlock the power of the genome. And what does that mean for students, and what does that mean for human health? We really think about it as sharing careers and opportunities with students to be a part of a biotechnology company if they're interested in science or if they're not interested in science. And there's so many different ways that you can be an employee contributing to a company like Illumina in, whether you're in government affairs or legal or HR. And so we really want to show that whole ecosystem to students so that they can have a better picture of business and who we are as a company. So the way that we do that is a couple different ways. So we bring, at a cadence of about twice a month, we bring on groups of high school students onto our campus. We give them an overview of genomics, what that is, what that means for them, their personal health, and their future, and walk through the potential careers that they can learn about and explore. We go give them a campus tour and go into our customer training labs. They walk through kind of a step-by-step process of an experiment with our employees. And then we have a career panel. And that career panel gives them an opportunity to ask employees questions about what is it like at Illumina to work here, what got you interested in this, how do we find an internship? Really, there's no question that goes unasked. So that was our signature program, how we started to create that intersection between industry and education. And what we've done to expand that is to create a program called Genomics 101 in the classroom. And that's where employees can use their volunteer time off to go into classrooms, teach about genomics, do a hands-on activity, and they can do that at any school, K through 12, that they're interested in and they have a relationship with. A lot of times, parents want to find ways to go into their classroom, to talk about careers, and this is a really great way for us to provide them content, presentations, so that they're not spending time creating those and they can feel supported by us as a company. So we started that early this year and have seen it pick up pretty quickly. Everyone's very excited about it. They love sharing photos and best practices and feedback with all of our employees, and we've really seen that community grow. So, and then as we thought about how do we take this globally, and I should say the program, the Genomics 101 program, it's available, we're a global company, so it's available in Chinese, Japanese, Spanish, Italian. We're working with our employees to translate it into other languages so that they can provide those opportunities for employees globally. So the last program that I wanted to highlight is, as we think about expanding, how do you expand to more students? You meet the teachers where they are. And so we see teachers as such an amazing partner in the creation of a program. And this is our teacher workshop. So we have a 2-day an educator workshop happening. Our pilot is June 26th and 27th, so countdown is on. And we're bringing 24 teachers from San Diego, from all different types of schools. We have San Diego Unified, we have all different school districts. It's public, private, charter, so that we can better understand how can we make this program fit into all different types of schools. And so we'll be going through something that is similar to the student tour, but the teachers will be going through a 2-day protocol. So a protocol is an experiment. They'll actually be working with our instruments, running tests on the instruments, analyzing the data, and then those teachers will have a better understanding of how to teach genomics in the classroom. And then at the end of that, they'll have the opportunity to actually bring that instrument into their classrooms and teach students on the instruments. So it's, again, always going back to what are the different types of careers that it takes to create a product, to make it, to work with customers, what is that ecosystem of a company, and to better pique their curiosity of a world at any of these companies. So.
Thank you. I'll ask if we can go to a minute now. We are running a little bit behind, so I apologize, but thank you. I know, Steve, it's going to be tough, but
Mr. President, Visor, I'd be willing to give up my 3 minutes so that we can have a more...
Yeah, let's go ahead and have Superintendent Martin run the presentation to
Okay.
the board, and
I'm
then we'll
willing.
kind of adjust, I want to hear from everybody up here. I just hope that you guys will all self-edit your time, please, so that we can hear from everybody. I noticed that probably, every one of you has something amazing that I want to know about. And I've got questions and follow-ups with some of you already written down. So please, let's continue.
all right, so another fantastic work-based learning experience is the STEAM Leadership Series. So to tell us more, I'd like to introduce Executive Director of STEAM Leadership Series, Steve Chappell, and Max Gwynn, founder of Kids Eco Club.
Well, you already took 30 seconds, so.
Sorry.
Steve Chappell, I'm the Executive Director, and this is Max Gwynn of Kids Eco Club. San Diego STEAM Leadership Series is a program of Kids Eco Club and Intellectual Capital Media. And we basically bridge high-tech science and business in San Diego with the high school system. So the last week we did NASCO keynoted with Deborah Burke on top of the USS Midway. Some 400 students bussed in from all over just before that. And then they're hiring all sorts of pathways and non-pathways, from engineering down to welders. Great jobs. Before that, Elizabeth Blackburn, the Nobel Prize winner over at the SOC. It's our 3rd year there. Tina Nova before that. It's women in biotech, but really it's kind of very fascinated younger women, juniors. And before that, the Institute of the Americas. That's just this year's program. Wendy Martinez was our keynote, and we broadcast to 8 different Latin American countries as well. Because I was a little annoyed at certain people back east hurting the enabling how students felt maybe out here in San Diego. So that brought entrepreneurs from Tijuana and more, and it's our 4th successful year, I would say. You can check out steamleadership.com as a sort of a robust new website. Next year we'll do medical devices as well as something over at the Venter Institute with Craig Venter. We'll do more on energy, which has become very big with corporations here. We'll, of course, do something more on the Midway with Blue Tech and a great partner of ours, the Marine Institute. So I see a lot of heads nodding, and just head for that website, which will tell you. And I wanted to thank, couldn't be possible without Cindy Martin and Cheryl Hibbelin and Mike Goodbody and Genevieve Clark and Al Love. Not to mention Kevin Beiser, because he's wearing a tie. Thank you.
He's wearing a tie.
Thanks, Steve. We're always excited to see what you're going to pull together for next year. You put together dynamic speakers that not only are leaders in their field, but engage our students. So next, I'd like to introduce UCSD Extension Associate Dean for Community Engagement and Director of Pre-College Programs, Dr. Edebeda.
Is this working now? Okay. You started out by channeling Cheryl. I found my voices in my head channeling inner Hiblin, Martin, Genevieve, and these voices sneak up on me quite a bit lately. My whole focus moving forward, in 2011, we created a platform year-round to have an infrastructure to connect and to complement and sustain relationships not only with the individuals around this table, but our partners in the district. We as a public good have access to a lot of resources, but how we connect those is very important. So today, I will just focus on, there's really a whole host of programs, but I'm most proud of our work with women in STEM. The area and the data supports that we need to focus on more women going into the sciences. They're powerhouses and can compete with anybody. So with that in mind, we had those voices in my head help me acquire Sally Ride Science. Most recently, our leadership and our board driving with Condoleezza Rice, Billie Jean King, Lynn Shear, and others, top-notch, Ellen Ochoa, and really focusing on how do we bring all these resources to Unified and around the world. This year, we'll be hosting the 3rd Academy, Junior Science Academy at Mission Bay High School. Cindy Martin, it was great to have you in the first inaugural years ago at 400. This year, we'll have 1,400 young girls, mid and high school, trying to inspire them that they can kick butt as a girl and go into the sciences. Most importantly, I will end with saying today is just a point in time. What I'm looking forward is the future, that we can leverage much more resources from the University of California, including the Sally Ride Research Vessel and our Sally Ride EarthCam satellite, and connecting that to teachers to actually leverage in the classroom.
Thanks, sir. So now we'll transition to our computer science strategy. One thing we know for sure from the jobs data is that many of the jobs of the future will be embedded in computer science industry. We've currently partnered with Microsoft Teams to support CCTE courses at Hoover, Claremont, and La Jolla. Today we have 2 partners with us who will highlight our work with integrated math and Bootstrap, and our newest partnership with TechSmart. I would like to introduce Dr. Susan Yanazawa, as well as Micah Pollock from USCSD Create, and Bruce Levin, founder and CEO of TechSmart Kids.
Thank you, everybody. We're pleased to be here as well. UCSD Create, as my colleague Ed Abeda has already spoken, represents not just ourselves, but our campus and the efforts of our campus to reach out and be of service, as we should be, to the San Diego community, particularly the K-14 community. Our chancellor has gratefully funded us to be of service and has funded for our the Create STEM Success Initiative, where we've been charged to be a portal for many of our scientists and engineers on our campus who are interested in securing grants and other resources and linking them thoughtfully to educators and to students, particularly in San Diego Unified. So the program that Michael Goodbody has just referred to, which is called CS-CAVE, is an NSF-funded grant that really connects Create, the San Diego Supercomputer Center on our campus, as well as faculty who used to be Beth Simon from the Jacobs School of Engineering, and who is now with our Education Studies Department, where Micah Pollock, our Create director, who's in the audience, is also a faculty member. That program has really been about building the district's capacity and individual high school teachers' capacity to teach AP computer science principles. It also has extended our network in the country, and it connected us with colleagues from MIT and from Brown University, who've now become more interested in connecting also with San Diego Unified, and have recently written another NSF grant that can bring resources through Bootstrap to San Diego Unified math classrooms. We've been kind of obsessive about math lately. We know that when math is stronger in students, that science and technology and engineering careers become more possible, particularly in the computing areas. So we've been really kind of shoring up, thinking carefully about how can we connect our passion for mathematics education with our knowledge that students need more access to computing. And in next year, going forward, we're working with San Diego Unified, our colleagues at MIT, at Brown, and here in San Diego, at UC San Diego in our School of Engineering, to offer training for or professional development for teachers in June for 25, I think it's 25 high school teachers, although I think we can go higher than that, from about 4 or 5 local district high schools who will be teaching Integrated Math 1 with a focus on computing. And we were very careful, I just want to say, that the curriculum that we're supporting and that the work that we're doing in collaboration with these high school teachers it's been very thoughtfully derived and tested, and we sent math teachers to go look at this first. We wanted their opinion, and they came back and said, we absolutely love this. We had colleagues from Kearney High School, for example, work with Bootstrap first and say things to us like, this is the best staff development that I have ever experienced in 20 years of teaching. So we're very excited going forward that we'll be able to do 2 things at once, because there's so much to do, right? That we'll be able to improve the access to computing education, and we'll also be able to improve students' mathematics so that they have as many options as possible going forward.
Hi, everyone. My name is Bruce Levin. I'm the founder and CEO of a company called TechSmart. We're based up in Seattle. We're a new partner for the district, so we're really happy to be here with everybody. Thank you. I'm going to keep this super short for Michael. We have partnered with the district to help capture some really exciting funding from the federal government for computer science. In September of 2017, the current administration directed the U.S. Department of Ed to allocate $200 million for computer science education. This is the first time that money has directly been allocated for this. There's been a lot of NSF grants and whatnot, but this is the first. So at the end of April, the Office of Innovation and Improvement released a $115 million grant. It's called the EIR Program Grant. Didn't have much time to apply for it, so we all collaborated. Happy to say that we submitted the grant on Monday with 22 minutes to spare, which was thrilling. And the grant, we'll know if we get accepted in September. So the grant is focused on building an implementation, a computer science implementation model for the country. It's kind of a lofty, big goal. Computer science implementation model that other diverse urban school districts can use throughout the country. That's really what this grant is looking for, is a model that can be shared. So that's what we set out to do. We put together a partnership with several partners. The University of San Diego, Shiley Marcos School of Engineering. Dean Shell Roberts is a big partner of the program. Lego Education, I've been collaborating with Keith as well on that. An organization called Classroom of the Future, which is a nonprofit based in San Diego that's going to help with some world of work-based learning. And the grant is really going to focus on how you train teachers and build computer science pathways for students. We're super excited about it. The opportunity is a $4 million funding for the district. It's a 5-year project. And again, we'll know about the grant in September, so hopefully we'll be back talking about that then. Thank you very much.
Now that we've highlighted some of the strong collaborative efforts we have in place for all clusters already, I'd like to briefly cast some additional strategies for the STEAM vision moving forward. This slide highlights the 5-year map that will outline the implementation plan at the elementary, middle, and high school levels. For year 1, our superintendent team from Area 3 and 4, Sophia Freire and Kimmy Lochtefeld, helped us to engage and identify 5 clusters within Areas 3 and 4 who are ready to pilot this effort: Claremont, Hoover, Kearney, Mission Bay, and Point Loma. Our efforts in year 1 will be focused on the TKK, 6th grade, and 9th grade. At the TKK level, we're focused on transformation of physical classroom spaces, collaborative development of daily STEAM curricula in the form of a 1-hour STEAM block in each classroom, including integration of Project Lead the Way and Lego Education. The introduction of leveled STEAM classroom libraries and ongoing professional development through the 18-19 school year in order to fully support teachers with implementation. I should note that the excitement around the TKK efforts have been spreading already, and elementary schools outside of these clusters have requested to participate, and we're going to make every effort to accommodate these requests moving forward. This will begin with a full-day opportunity for STEAM professional learning with our partners from Lego Education and a full week of professional development in August to support the delivery of the STEAM lessons. In addition, now that VAPA department has joined our newly formed Office of School Innovation, the VAPA team is helping ensure that the A in art, art in STEAM, is fully integrated in our efforts, and they're super excited, by the way. Joining us on this journey is Lego Education, who's represented here today by Keith Kostreski. I tried, Keith, I practiced.
It's fine, it's really hard for me to talk without having Legos in my hand, so I'm not angry, I'm very excited to be here with you all, and there's a duck. Thank you, and like SeaWorld, I'm sorry. And like SeaWorld, a little less stinky though, but when you bring students into that environment, the engagement and the joy that comes out of a student's eyes is something we can't capture and something we need to bring into our classrooms. So we're very thankful to be a part of the work here. My name is Keith Kostreski. I'm standing here on behalf of Lego Education, but our global team. I say that because when I share the story of the work that's happening in San Diego Unified, our global team understands the demographics, the diversity, and the challenges that you all face as a community here on providing educational opportunities for all is very reflective of our world today. So the work here is really impactful in building a model for engaging students in STEM in a pathway from TK all the way through postgraduate work. So thank you very much for having us to be here. It's also, I'm very lucky, and I think some of the my colleagues across the country feel that I have a side gig working PR for San Diego Unified, because I'm so effusive, I'm so effusive in the praise of the work that's being undertaken here with regards to this. I mean, the Office of Innovation, I share with colleagues across the country, and their words to me, without a doubt, are, wow, that's amazing. You have offices of secondary, middle school, and TK collaborating together on a systemic effort to understand where gaps are and looking to solve them back. So kudos to the team and the innovation team on that. We're very blessed and lucky to be here, to be involved with that, and looking forward to partnering. And probably the things that we're involved in most are developing a very sustainable adoption plan, looking for professional development and collaborating within the team. Curriculum integration, we need to know that we need to be explicit on how we bring some of these playful learning experiences into the classroom. And then most of all, we're looking to you guys to be a visionary, a product visionary partner with us too as we progress. So thank you very much for being here, or for allowing me to be here, and kudos to all the work.
Thank you.
My broken leg.
Now I'd like to introduce Michael Jones, who will describe how Blue Tech theme will be threaded through our STEAM efforts.
Thank you. I've been given an impossible task to do this in a couple of minutes. But let me ask first, how many of you think that the ocean is important? Good. How many of you think it's important for our future in San Diego? Great, I'm done. Now, why is it then that until 2012 we'd never studied it here in San Diego? And it turns out it's the biggest industry we have, the blue economy. And why is it the OECD, the world's think tank, did its first ever study on the oceans in 2016? Why is it NOAA, we did a study for them, their first ever study on the value of ocean observation, 2016. It's because we're waking up today and understanding the ocean. So let me give you a couple attributes. Every second breath we take comes from the ocean. 71% of the world's surface is water. 98% of habitable Earth is underwater. Think about that. 98% of habitable Earth is underwater. So I was on a panel with a professor from USD, and he was asked, what are the 3 attributes in San Diego we should focus on? Not your interests now, but what are your attributes? It's like being male or female, tall or short. Short person has trouble playing basketball at a professional level. So what were those 3 attributes? Number 1 is the ocean. Number 2 is the border. Number 3 is the weather, and the weather is dependent on the ocean. So 2 of the 3, it's not bad, right? And yet again, we hadn't even thought about it. Now this led to South County EDC focusing on blue economy. And you think about the big things that we humans face, the big 5 as we like to call them: food, water, medicine, energy, and real estate. Over 90% of all surface of Earth that can be under agriculture is. So you don't go from 4 billion people to 10 billion people unless we farm the ocean. 97% of the world water in the ocean. Medicines. There are millions and millions of new creatures we're just beginning to understand. When Craig Vender's boat went around the world, there were 1.5 million living organisms known to man. They found 20 million new living organisms in one set of voyages. So we're talking probably 500 million living creatures in the ocean that we don't even know yet. Energy. Department of Energy has said that there's 3 times the amount of harvestable energy than we use in electricity in the United States off of our shores, and we're just beginning. This state has just let the very first contract to one of our member companies. And 5th, as water rises, and it is rising, it doesn't matter why it's rising, but it is rising, every port, every desal plant, every power plant is going to have to move. We're talking about trillions of dollars, but people aren't even thinking about it yet. This is an enormous effort, and we need kids to be thinking about it, because I know that I'm the one that stopped my mother from smoking, and we need these kids coming up realizing the importance of the ocean. You all raised your hands. This is how we do it. And we're so thankful to be working with San Diego Unified School District. This is an industry that's got great, good paying jobs, blue collar and white collar. We need 70,000 merchant mariners in this country by 2025. We're graduating 900 a year in the state maritime academies, including Cal Maritime. So we've got one of our members is one of the largest private sector companies in the United States. So this is an industry that cuts across biology, chemistry, physics, you name it. The ocean needs it. So we need to bring in, to be all that we can be, if you can use that old Army phrase, we want to be, the Maritime Alliance is the largest cluster in the United States, one of the largest in the world. It's a global industry. Languages are important. When Amy talked before about global problem to address and bilingual in that case, this is truly a global industry. There's one ocean. There may be 7 seas, but there's one ocean. And so we're all tied together. And we need to be one of the top 5 centers in the world. We need underserved communities to come in. We need females, we need Hispanics, we need blacks, we need absolutely everybody, because it's been primarily a white Anglo-Saxon male industry. And we need millions of jobs. This is one of the largest industries in the world, and we're just beginning to understand it. So my wife and I set up a Blue Tech Foundation last year to support the work that we're all doing together in education. We will be working with San Diego Unified School District to find additional sources of capital. But the San Diego Foundation, where we put our foundation, had never done anything related to the ocean before. So think about it. Here we have this ocean we've all said is important to all of us, and yet we haven't focused on it. And that's the opportunity. And that's the replicable model that you all are pioneering. And we're so thrilled to be working with you. And I was asked by Cheryl to show you this little cool children's book. It was done by a female scientist at University of Washington, one of the world's best scientists in terms of communications underwater. And there's this thing called Ocean Observation Initiative. It's about $600 million. And she's the lead for underwater. And so she has a couple of twins, and she started reading to their kids. So it's all in rhyme, but it starts off with an ROV, or remotely operated vehicle, and they go down to the bottom of the ocean because you look at that water and you can't see anything under the water. So it's our tools, it's Blue Tech tools that are allowing us to understand the opportunities and the problems we've created and to solve them. And it's this kind of a book that's going to get your kids interested and then bring them across to STEM, and then they can go in every single field. So thank you very much, and we look forward to working with you.
A big thank you to all of our partners quickly. We really appreciate you all being here and your support and ongoing support. I'd like to introduce Director of VAPA, Russ Sperling, who will share more specifically how the arts will play a major role in our efforts next year.
I'm thrilled that you saved the best for last.
Yes, my half of the presentation begins now. Just kidding. Hey, I'm going to go out on a limb. For those of you here, how many of you were in a dance, music, theater, visual art class in your education and consider that to be an important part of your education? Uh-oh. Okay, that failed. Because so many of the doctors and engineers that I know will tell me, and maybe it's because I'm an arts guy, how important the A was in their education. And that is why the A is in STEM, right? We started with STEM and we added the A. And that's the movement. And that's why we're working with Cheryl. And that's why my 4 resource teachers are working with this innovative team on the TKK lessons. And because we've been doing arts integration in this district for over a decade, we have a lot of experience in integration in my department. And so we are happy to be leaders in that curriculum writing. And we are the ones that are going to help students express the STEM thing through the arts. And they're going to learn it better. When you said you have to develop a pitch, that is theater, right? There are so many things, all the visuals, all that. So I know I don't actually have half the time, so I'm going to go super fast. But the next example is, yes, we have a strategic plan that we are entering the 3rd year. It's extremely exciting. It's community-based. We have so many more things to do. The next slide, though, the slide after that, is our $100,000 sponsorship from UC San Diego. Chancellor Koslow wants everyone to know that UC San Diego is not just a biotech engineering, science school. It's a school that has the arts, and he wants our kids in this district to know that, and he wants our kids in this district to have arts experiences and arts education that prepares them to be a part of the arts at UC San Diego, our local premier institution, whether they're going to be going into the arts or in one of the STEM fields. So that's an amazing endorsement, and that's an amazing connection that we're going to be building with UC San Diego. So we're extremely excited about that, and we're extremely excited about our new VAPA Foundation that is receiving that money, that's going to bring students from our district to campus to see the arts that are going on there. The sponsorship also is helping to promote the arts within our district. So our own families, who many times are not aware of the quality arts programs that we have in the district, they'll become more aware of those. So I think that's the main thrust of what we have going on in VAPA. What I would love to do sometime, I'm just going to put it out here in front of everyone, is in San Diego, we have at least this many partners in the visual and performing arts of really high quality. And I would love to share that with the community because, you know, I think of Jumpstart Theater, our new La Jolla Playhouse program. I think of the relationship we have with the museums in Balboa Park. The San Diego Symphony, who has a whole new vision around education. There's just one institution after the other within the arts in our community that is reaching out to us, and we are building similar partnerships that are going to be the dynamic change forces for our own students to get their expressive selves up, and so they're going to be more successful in these amazing opportunities that you're offering our students. So VAPA is thriving, and we're looking forward to next year.
Thank you very much, Superintendent Martin, and everybody for your presentation and your contributions. Do we have any public speakers at this time? Okay. All right, due to our time constraints and wanting to honor everybody's time, speakers, please try to limit your remarks to 1 minute. Marianne Hawk, Amy Redding, Marina, and Anne Marie Haney.
Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Marianne Hawk. I'm a parent volunteer and chair of the Gate District Advisory Committee here in the district. There are 23,000 GATE identified students in the district. That's 22% of the student body. GATE students are special needs students, yet GATE is hardly mentioned in the LCAP, and our GATE District Advisory Committee has been marginalized in this LCAP process. GATE is a cross-cutting issue. African American students and Hispanic students and students with disabilities can all also be GATE students. Yet 3/4 of those student groups are not enrolled, even though they've been identified in GATE classes. GATE is not about privileged white high achievers. Seminar students can be 3 standard deviations above the mean, outliers not just in their intellect, but also in their social, emotional, and learning needs. GATE DAC is a stakeholder group, but we haven't been involved in this process. I've left my card with you. Call me. I'm very happy to participate. Thank you.
Thank you. Amy Redding.
Amy Redding, chair of the Kearney Cluster of Schools. First, I want to say thank you to all of you for all the great programs that you're bringing my cluster and all my students. And now, close your ears. My cluster would like to report that we would like you to stop reevaluating military students new to the district for GATE placement if they have already qualified for the program. Due to tight staffing, it is difficult to schedule needed ELD classes and CTE classes. Any help to alleviate this issue is welcome. Please continue to support the MESA Legacy and Fast Track programs at Kearney High School. We continue to suffer as a cluster in our lack of well-rounded VAPA program in the cluster. We have seen cuts to the program this year, and we still do not have a program that serves TK-12. Please continue to expand pathways, the launch of Project Lead the Way, at every level in the cluster has been great, along with the addition of maker spaces. It has been transformational. And as a community member, I have been disturbed by the reports from students at several high schools that AVID has been reserved for high-achieving students. AVID was not created for high-achieving students. I would like to see this addressed before student schedules are finalized for next year. Thank you.
Marina?
Good afternoon. My name is Marina Castelo. I am part of Latinos y Latinas en Acción and Global ARC. I was part of the community LCAP dialogue 2018, and we just want to say that we strongly support the goal number 2. It's as our community need to be served beyond remediation programs. They want enrichment programs that help our children reach their full potential. This aligns with the recommendation number 5, more intensive and targeted support for the students in Crawford and Hoover clusters. Thank you.
Anne Marie Haney?
Good afternoon. I'm from the Community Council for Music in the Schools, and first I want to congratulate our school board president, Kevin Beiser, and Dr. Mike McQuarrie for your very strong endorsement in the recent election. That's always wonderful to see. I'm very concerned and looking forward to seeing pathways developed for students to be able to continue in the arts. As we add more of these wonderful experience in classes, we still have a 6-period day. So we're really up against it to try to figure out the juggling, and some schools are accommodating with 0 periods, flexible A/B schedules. Others are not quite focused in that area, but I'm sure they will be. I'm concerned about part-time positions in so many of our middle and high schools for music teachers. It's hard to hold on to teachers when they have a part-time position. Russ has brought in tremendously qualified teachers since 2006, but some of them have escaped us. So on they go for better opportunities. We need more teachers for elementary music. Our elementary music teachers have from 400 to 600 students a week. They go to as many as 10 elementary schools, have to set up chairs, etc., and everybody still expects them to perform with very little opportunity to learn how to play an instrument. And my dad was an engineer, and he played the trombone, and he was an introvert, very shy, quiet person who became an executive and head of the dinner club and all that.
Board member comments or questions? Dr. Evans?
Yeah, well, I mean, we're talking about broad and challenging curriculum, and we can see very clearly that's what's happening here. I know when I came on the board, visited the Met High School that had a very good internship program, and it's just my impression that over the last 8 or 9 years that's been expanded into so many high schools across the district. And we're still, I think this public still has more to learn about the fact that the old tracks of vocational education and college prep, and then the idea that now if our basic curriculum is to make everyone prepared for college, but that doesn't necessarily mean everyone's going to go to college, just like it doesn't mean that everyone who follows a particular pathway in high school is necessarily going to go into that career any more than all of our JROTC students are going to necessarily go into the military. But I think we just need to promote this idea of lifelong learning across the spectrum, whether it's in college, community college, technical schools, and so forth. I just think we need to get the word out a lot more that this is not your father's Oldsmobile, that high school is very different, and people don't really realize that. And I know when I Google evangelist was in town, I mean, he really put the question to the students, which is not what do you want to be when you grow up, but what problem would you like to work on starting now?
Dr. Whiters-Payne?
I would like to say thank you to all of you for coming today and sharing with us. My background is math and NSF and all of that, so I'm really happy to hear this. If I had my way, I would have a really long school day where the children would be bilingual, so they would be learning 2 languages. They would be immersed in science and math and getting experience and exposure. to all of the programs that you're talking about, as well as in the music and the arts. They'd be playing an instrument. But I do think that it's important for children to be exposed to all of these various areas so that they then can make informed decisions later about what they want to do. And just last week, I was at one of our middle schools in southeastern San Diego, and the teachers were talking about the fact that the children they're not really interested in the math problems and so forth. Well, I hear all of this discussion about the kids on the museum, on the ship, on the Midway. They're going to labs. All of our kids need that. All of our students need that so that they can see the value in what they're doing in class rather than just doing math problems in isolation. So my thought always is to ramp it up and expose more kids to it. And then, I would have every child, as I said, into the visual and performing arts. They need a community. And I thank each of you for giving up your time to assist us with teaching children, because I don't see it only as a school district problem. It's a community issue, and we all need to engage in that activity. And I want to thank you, and if you can get some more volunteers to help us out, we appreciate that. Thank you.
Dr. McQuarrie?
Yeah, likewise, what an incredible opportunity that helps us address the challenge that we all face. The challenges of a more diverse community. Our employers have a challenge of a diverse workforce. We have a challenge of a growing academic program with rapidly increasing information and knowledge. Your challenge is how do you deal with that, and how you have trained employees who can handle those problems on the spot and be able to work together. Our challenge is to have students work together and develop the civic literacy skills necessary to know how to form partnerships, identify issues and concerns, and then to create solutions, and then to implement and those solutions into the world. And I think your challenge as well is how do we do that on the world stage, as well as to employ our future workers and creative thinkers. We have one of the most diverse school districts in the country. We have students who are born in 163 different countries. They bring 70 different languages. So our opportunities for a challenging and broad curriculum is to accept students from wherever they are with whatever skills they have, with whatever language and culture they bring with them, and make sure that they have an outstanding learning experience. And we can do that as we use the limited fundings that we have in order to make that happen. We wish we had greater resources that were provided for public education, but we don't. And I think this is one way in which we're reaching out to you, is to help us meet that need. I would think we would be reaching out anyway, regardless of the level of resources, because what we're doing together in a collaborative effort is to creating a reciprocal relationship. You're learning from us in terms of learning about the future workforce and helping us, and we're learning and helping us to understand what skills we need to develop in order for them to be able to take on adult roles to solve new and emerging problems. And I think we started in a number of ways. There's always have been partnerships, but the story I'm putting together here is the one where Superintendent Martin goes on a one-day tour to see a business, and then that evolves out into a one-day experience, and then it evolves to that child and that lab then creates legs. It moves out into the district, and now it's moving out into the world. So it's an opportunity that we have taken working with you and coming together in collaboration to identify a real need. Working together, we can solve that need, and I'm looking forward to the future where we can leverage this collaborative partnership, build closer relationships, and be able to create the learning experience, not necessarily learning classroom, but the learning experience of the world that will create the students that we all need in order to have a more secure planet and a more peaceful relationship with everyone around us. So thank you for being here and this opportunity to hear what you are doing and to acknowledge my support for what you're doing, and we will continue to grow this powerful relationship.
Thank you very much for everybody for coming. We all know that it takes a village. It takes everybody to raise the next generation right. And I'm thrilled, and I know that over the years that we've been on the board, we've talked about strengthening and working harder to build stronger partnerships with our community. In San Diego, we have a great opportunity with the ocean for the Blue Tech and SeaWorld with all the technology and math associated in science, associated with everything you guys do to save animals, with Qualcomm and the Chamber of Commerce and Workforce Development. I just wish we had a lot more time. I mean, this one issue could be a full-day workshop. And so I just want to say thank you very much, and let's continue to think, how can we get more students involved? How can we get more teachers involved in San Diego Unified Teachers, and then continue to impact and change these kids' lives forever? Thank you. We'll take a 3-minute recess.